I think people minimize the fact that Darlie was abused by her stepfather. Thanks to Pam for bringing this affidavit to my attention. I've seen it a long time ago, but I don't. This was handwritten by Jennifer Hikes on the 11th day of June 1996, and what she was told by Dana. And I'll read it out the best I can. Dana Stahl was employed with my employer, Jack Properties Incorporated, for approximately 3 weeks, during which she talked excessively about personal matters. She had discussed her sister Darlie molested as a child by her father. Now Danelle will tell you that that never happened. That he's not a molester. She had discussed her sister Darlie being molested as a child by her father. She had discussed being employed at Tesnique and the big business being slow and having to find another job. She brought a large roll of film into the office of her brother-in-law's house, a white lion cub playing with her and her nephews. She said the lion belonged to a friend of her sister and had cost $7,000. She said that friend had other exotic animals but made no profit off of them. She said that one weekend in the past month, she got pissed at her boyfriend, Kevin. Her sister got pissed at, say that's redacted. So they went and partied. Dana's brother-in-law was pissed at her from Dana's brother-in-law picked her up from work at least once in the past month when she had car trouble. Dana had told me that she and her boyfriend had used marijuana, which concerned me that maybe her definition of partied was drug use, possibly with her sister. Right here is where they talk about the molestation. And we all know that child sexual abuse leads to PTSD and other problems, problems in adulthood, trust issues, blah blah blah. But let's not just stop there. This is signed Beth Parker. Da da da. Okay. Now, Rich and them made a very bold statement. If you talk to anybody that actually knew Darling, they had nothing bad to say about her, nothing. Right, but then Rich doubles back and says, and when they did, they said you can't talk to anybody that knew Darlie and that had anything bad to say about her. Looks to me like Darlie's kind of jealous. And he also said that Darlie wanted 8 children in the episode 62 on his last podcast, that she wanted 8 children. Okay, so I'm just going to read off of this page here. Come by to visit Darlie. Tammy had said that Darlie had a contraceptive called Norform implanted in her arm that was supposed to keep her from getting pregnant for 5 years. Let me guess. Tammy's got mental issues. She's a known drug addict. She's affiliated with Chad Patterson. All this stuff that you're going to have to say now, right? Tammy and Darlie had a contraceptive called Norform implanted into her arm that was supposed to keep her from getting pregnant for 5 years. Doesn't sound like she wants 8 kids to me. Sounds like she wants 0 kids. Darlie changed a whole lot, and Darren said that since Darlie has that thing in her arm, she was different. Darlie got mad at Tammy, and Tammy is still not sure why. She thinks it was because Darren befriended her at the time her husband went back to Thailand. Darren took Tammy out to breakfast to try and console her about the separation. Darlie found out and treated her differently from that point on. According to Tammy, Darlie didn't want kids. Darlie didn't like to cook. Now, this is somebody that actually knows them, worked with her at Colplex. After the second baby, Tammy saw Darlie a couple of times. Tammy felt Darlie was still mad at her about something and acted differently toward her. She said nobody knew anything about the third pregnancy. Darlie lost it or something. On the day of the murders, Darren was at Colplex because that was his former work where he used to work there. And in talking with him, he said he wanted to have a girl and wants more babies. He looked old and tired and different. Next day, Tammy was shocked because when she arrived at work, she learned of the murders. Colplex. She hadn't talked to Darlie since the murders and has seen Darren, is afraid to talk to him because she doesn't know what to say. Darlie did tell Tammy about her sexual abuse as a child. She was abused by her stepfather, and it started around the age of 8. Darlie's mother knew and didn't do anything. And Darlie herself said she resented her mother for that. Tammy stated that after Darlie had babies, her personality changed. She always wanted more and more material things. Shop till you drop, Darlie. Mary did tell Tammy that business wasn't so good. It was at this time that he wanted to go to Thailand and get some good drugs and sell them. He knew some bad things. Tammy related that all the people that Darlie and Derry hang around with do drugs, marijuana and cocaine. And what they find in the house? Marijuana and cocaine residue. At first, she didn't want to believe that Darlie could do such a thing, but now she believes that Darlie did it.
Adored taking care of her sister. And as Dana got older, and then Dana and my daughter are pretty close in age. They're like from February to July birth year differences. Dana was a little older. And then when my daughter came around, she was just absolutely, she had 2 babies to play with. And then Danelle comes along, and she was just very much, she loved babysitting. She liked children. She was, had her typical teen roll her eyes at her mom and that kind of stuff. And
If you love children, why do you get an implant that keeps you from having them when you're married? What we saw was that Darren wanted more kids.
Pictures of my granddaughters, pictures of my daughters, and all my, because my daughters are, they're still extremely young. And oh my God, she wrote me a letter back right away. Oh my God, what a ham that little girl is. I mean, I got the letter to prove it. Just the different various things going on and on and on. But you know what Darlie told me? She told me that Darren wouldn't have it, but she wanted 8 children. But Darren,
to get their heart broken.
well, I had shared with Darlie Lynn pictures of my granddaughters, pictures of my daughters, and all my, because my daughters are, you know, they're still extremely young. And oh my God, she wrote me a letter back right away. Oh my God, what a ham that little girl is. I mean, I got the letter to prove it. Just the different various things going on and on and on. But you know what Darlie told me? She told
What?
me that she told me that Darren wouldn't have it, but she wanted 8 children.
She told you that? And why is she wearing that nor that implant that keeps you from having kids for 5 years? And we have a statement from someone that actually knew both of them, that worked at Coldplex, that actually knew them, Rich, that said Darren wanted kids, not Darlie.
Damn, that little girl is. I mean, I got the letter to prove it. Just the different various things going on and on and on. But you know what Darlie told me? She told
What?
me that she told me that Darren wouldn't have it, but she wanted 8 children, but Darren wouldn't have it. And I don't think that I don't think that somebody that's going to end up. Uh,
Now, in the background here, you hear Steve, you know, the reindeer guy. The one, he's cracked the case, and he's going to have a talk with Texas, and they're going to free Darlie. But he's cracked the case, the reindeer guy. But he's messing around with his earphones. Watch how irritated Rich gets. Let me put it over on Rich. Now, he doesn't think that, you know, somebody that wanted 8 children would butcher their 2 kids. Well, we heard from somebody that actually knew her before the crime. How about that, Rich?
butchering 2 of her own children would want 8 children. See, that's the thing that always got me about the case is that
Look how mad Rich is getting. He's getting pissed. He doesn't say anything, though, but he's getting mad at the noise.
there's nothing leading up to this horrible tragedy. Nothing. There's no motive. You know, the only thing, and I want Steve to know about this, and I want my viewers to know about this because I investigated this. I had talked to Darlie in person and by letter about the so-called postpartum depression that she had.
It's not so called. PTSD will result in a child who had been molested. If you look, you know, at Darlie's journal, just a few weeks before the murders, she was writing, "I don't know why Dennis did what he did to me. I don't know who hurt him." So it was on her mind all the way up to that time. Sexual abuse can lead to PTSD in adults.
And I talked with her about it, and I said, Darlie, tell me what happened. Because I was actually once married to a woman who had postpartum psychosis. She's no longer alive, but I don't want to talk bad about her, but just to be quite truthful about it, um,
Rich is getting so pissed off at all that noise. You can see it in his face. He wants to tell him to shut up.
there toward the end, she could have let off Mental Health Week. I can tell you that. And I just didn't see anything like that in Darlie with anything I read, even with that journal entry that she had made. So I asked Darlie, I said, can you tell me about that? Do you think you had postpartum depression or psychosis or whatever?
And he's talking about the journal entry that she made about Dennis. You know, I don't know why Dennis did what he did to me. I don't know who hurt him. This is years later.
I said, tell me what happened. And she said, Rich, I don't know if I had it or not because I didn't go to a physician to get diagnosed or not.
That's because her mother didn't take her after she reported molestation to her. Her mother didn't do anything about it. And the family tries to hush hush that to this day. You can look on you can listen, look on my videos. Danelle saying he is not a molester. He did not do that. Or she don't want to talk about it. Right? So this would prove that that family is inclined to protect someone who harms children. That's proof of that.
And I said, well, what went wrong? I mean, I said, there's a lot of people saying different things. Something had to transpire. You know, what happened? And she said, the only thing I can tell you is for like a week or two, everything would make me cry. This was her words exactly. Everything would make me cry. And she said that after she started her premenstrual cycle, it all went away.
Wow, you sure are telling a lot of her personal business on here. But anyways.
She didn't feel as though it was that big a deal. I'd love to get Mr. Routier's thoughts on this, but sadly, he won't.
Here comes this lie that I disproved you on so simply. See what you did, Rich? When you put these videos out like this, you get me to dig. When you're telling lies like this, you make me dig to prove you wrong, and I do it every time. I could go through every single one of your videos and just blow you away every time. I just don't have time for it. But if you're going to continue to do this and bringing idiots up on your panel that think that a fucking reindeer was an accomplice to the intruder because he lost a sock, ha ha ha. You continue to bring these jokers on here, and I'm going to do this. And I know you watch because earlier in this video you were getting ready to show something, but you have one of my clips saved. I can't find it now because it only flashed for a second, but it's there. So you're going to create a monster in me. Is what you do, a factual monster.
Talk to me. I've tried talking with him over the years. I can't get him to talk to me. I kind of understand why sometimes, kind of like just recently, one of the haters, non supporters, whatever you want to call them.
And it's in a video that I put up 2 months ago where I called Darren. So thanks for watching my channel. Can't resist.
Fifth Circle of Hell people, whatever.
Circle of Hell people. This is what you're saying behind that screen where I can't comment to you. This is not what you said. I'm going to go front. BryanSt.John, he's a fine man. His videos are really good and blah, blah, blah. I've watched every single one of them. They're right there in your own words. But now I'm a hater in Circle of Hell. All right?
Contacted Darren and stated that I said that Darren was responsible and had performed this murder, which is
And had performed this murder. Now, did you hear me say that? Nope. I said they're basically accusing you of the crime.
absolutely ridiculous. I have never said that Darren committed this murder. I have never said that. The only thing I've ever said about it was I believe that Darren was responsible.
If you believe he was responsible, that means he took part in it. He caused it. You're basically accusing him of the crime. Are you stupid? Anyways.
Never said that. The only thing I've ever said about it was I believe that Darren was responsible. I've never said Darren carried out this murder. So, you want to lie. I mean,
Yeah, you want to lie, Rich? I'm gonna catch you in it. I'm gonna continue to do this.
you want to talk shit about me. That's great.
That's not shit. You are basically accusing him of the crime.
Knock yourself out. It doesn't bother me.
I've
Don't
never
lie
heard
about
you
me.
say that either, ever.
Yeah, don't lie about me. I never said that. I have never said that Darren Routier murdered those boys.
And neither have I. I never believed it. As a supporter, I believe that he had something to do with it. But I never believed that he killed those kids, ever. But listen.
Attack Darlie. I have never said that. And the only thing that I've ever said, even anything remotely close to that, was that I've always believed that it was Darren's fault, but I never thought that he did it.
And neither did I, and nor did I say that. You're basically accusing him of the crime. If he invites people over to his house to rob his house and they kill his kid, then he's responsible. If they knew that he invited the people over to his house, if they knew that he invited an intruder into that house and they killed the kids, Darren would be in prison for it as well.
And I don't think the evidence supports that he did it. And yet you get haters and non-supporters that are calling Darren at his place of business.
I called Darren at the company he owns. You're damn right I did. And I caught your ass in a lie while doing it. I hope he sues your ass. That's what I'm hoping for. I hope he sues your fucking ass. If he would have called me back and asked me how to get a hold of you, which he didn't, I would have gave him all your information. I hope he sues your fucking ass when you keep saying he's involved in some bad things. Listen to some of Rich's first few videos that he put out years ago and listen to what he's saying now.
And Lubbock, Texas, telling him that I say that. And that is absolute ludicrous, and that is a lie. So I just hope that Mr. Routier watches I don't know if he does or doesn't, but if he does, I think he'll figure out the truth real quick and to see who's really lying.
Yeah. If he watches mine, he'll see who's lying. He'll see you dogging him. I don't dog him. I know that Darren didn't lead nobody to that house. Because it was Darlie that did it. They used to think that. They wanted us to think that.
And see who the real bad guy is. I really have choice words for it, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, you're not going to say anything. If you got choice words, you're not blocked from my channel. You can put them right under there. You can't even argue it, and you can't even argue yourself. So you keep them choice words right to yourself, buddy.
Stoop myself to their level.
Yeah, you're not going to stoop to my level of telling the truth. You're busted.
I try to consider myself as an individual that represents Darlie.
No, you represent Darlie, but you've talked shit about. I haven't heard you talk shit about Kathy, but I have about Mystery Maverick. I have about Stephanie, and I have about Sully, and you know I have. I should have recorded you. But anyways, I'm going to move up a little bit here.
I have all kinds of choice words for some of those folks. That's why we can't even do lives, because we get harassed and hassled and they try to disrupt.
That's a damn lie. And you can look at all his videos, right? The ones that are up, he's got them numbered. Go back through there and see where we've harassed. Go back there and look. His idea of harassment is when we challenged him with the truth. That's his idea of harassment.
The channel. But all those people are going to be banded when we do the next question and answer. And that's
Yeah, because you don't want to hear it. Rich, it's in the groups. I blocked you a long time ago.
That's all I'm going to say about it. Now, Annie here knows Darren very well on a personal level. As a matter of fact, Annie
is Kathy Ramsey. Now listen, you contradict yourself. Listen here.
his husband is friends with Darren.
So in your earlier videos, Rich, you continue to say that Darren is involved in some shady people and he did some bad things. And he did this and he did that. Is Kathy Ramsey's husband one of those people? Just wondering.
Passive in everything.
I mean,
Now, see, Rich is getting ready to say some things right now that is, I guess, with Kathy being up here and her friends being with Darren, her husband being friends with Darren, he's kind of toned it down a little bit about how Darren was doing this, and I'm looking into it. Look at his first videos. Now he's an ass kisser. He's not doubling. He's not standing on what he actually believes.
folks, you got to remember what these people have been through. I mean, Darren not only lost both of his sons, but he also lost his wife. I mean, she wasn't murdered that night, but she might as well have been, because, she was taken away from Darren. And, that man's been through a lot as well.
Yeah, and you keep accusing him of hanging around with these bad, shady people, but you don't name any of them.
Just like Darlies' family has. And I really wish Janelle was here right now, because obviously Janelle knew her brother-in-law very well. And she could also add to what things that
If Danelle knew her brother-in-law very well, why isn't she saying that he was involved with some bad people? He did some shady things. You say it a lot.
Annie had to say, because like I said, I've never met Darren. I've never talked. I'd love to. My God.
Oh my God.
But, you can't put yourself.
He's been burned by the press too many
Oh
times.
my God.
And
Rich is one of the people who burns him. Rich is one of the people who burns him. He was involved with some shitty characters back then. I just don't know. Trying to make it seem like, that it was a drug deal gone bad. That's something that you have said. And say you haven't. Say you haven't. I clipped it.
misrepresented. And then there's the whole Darren did it directly type camp, or Darren participated, or Darren's covering
Or Darren's responsible camp. Camp? How come you're not addressing him, Kathy?
up for her, or I mean, where there's all kinds of wild accusations that none are supported by any evidence. They're all supposition, and the majority of the case against Darlie is basically a psychological manipulation by the prosecution.
I don't even record anymore. Her Tara speaks up. She says, "Let me just say."
Hey, not one. There was only one person that actually knew Darlie. So take out the paramedics, take out the police, take out all of them people. Not one person that actually knew Darlie, apart from Basha Javel's mum, who had a grudge against Darlie anyway. She didn't like her.
And her name was Helena, by the way.
Yeah, not one other person that actually knew her had one bad word to say about her.
That's right.
I mean, how?
Yeah, that's right. He was clear. Well, we just saw two different things. But anyways, I'm not going to go too much on about this video. I want to put this back up here where you can see. Dana Stahl was employed with Jack Propriety. So this is somebody that worked with Dana for approximately 3 weeks, during which time she talked excessively about personal matters. She had discussed her sister being molested as a child by her father. That's a far cry from Dana saying it never happened. Or Danelle saying it never happened, excuse me. Actually, not one person that knew Darlie had a single bad thing to say about her. Well, chew on this. I'll leave this up here for a second so you can read it. Darlie did tell Tammy about her sexual abuse as a child. She was abused by her father, and it started around the age of 8. Darlie's mother knew and didn't do anything. This is someone who actually knew her. Chew on that, Tara. I'm not asleep in my cruiser.